Namaskar. Welcome to the part 2 of the lesson number 8, explanations on the first step of the method of analysis. That is, analyzing the first level planet's self-significations. For this lesson number 8, for all the parts, I will be taking this chart for the example study. This is for your reference. Now, let us discuss about the step number 1. Step number 1, that is studying the self-signification of the first level planet, that is the source planet. While we are studying the source planet, we have to start our analysis from the cuspal Lord houses, because the cuspal Lord houses is most important one, because that is the source house of the planet. For example, if you take Sun is fourth Lord, occupying Lagna, 5 and 9 star Lord, and 7th cuspal sublord. Out of that, the planet is owner of the fourth house. This is important. We have to start its self-signification study from CL to OCC, CST to CSL. So left to right, we have to study. Out of them, CL is important. We have to start from that. If the CL is a favorable house for the event, check if it is further supported by favorable house grouping, or its favorable strength is reduced by the unfavorable houses in OCC, CST, and CSL. It means, for example, if you take a planet in CL is having a favorable house for an event. Suppose we are talking about event like a marriage. So 7th house is the favorable primary house. You take Mars. Mars is 7th Lord. It is having the cuspal Lord for the primary house of the marriage. Look at that planet is also cuspal Lord for the 12th house. But since it is 7th Lord, you check in OCC is 12th house and CST also 10th house. So when the planet favorable house is present, that is not further supported by OCC and CST, favorable strength is reduced. For example, you take Saturn. Saturn is 9th Lord and also 10th Lord. Normally, in each planet self-signification, CL, mostly one house will be favorable for an event and another house mostly for the unfavorable house for the event. So the planet in CL, it is having favorable house, but in the OCC, CST, and CSL also, it is having favorable house grouping or not. That is important. Now the planet is 9th Lord, occupying 5th house, 3, 7, 11 star Lord, and 3, 5, 9, 11 cuspal sublord. So it indicates the planet is supported by the favorable house grouping in OCC, CST, and CSL. In this case, Saturn. In this case of Mars, favorable house in the CL is not supported. It is unfavorable. Big houses are reducing the strength of the primary house in CL. Check if they form good favorable house grouping of houses, especially with 1 to 11 houses. In case of Saturn, you can see the 9th house is having in OCC, CST, CSL or favorable houses. Within that, it is whether it is having good houses like 1 to 11 houses. Yes, it is having 11th house is present in CST and CSL also. If it is also having second house, would have been better. It is second house is not there, but it is having other 5, 3, and 3, 5, 9 houses in CSL also. Apart from that, it is also having primary house. So it is favorable grouping of houses, especially with the 1 to 11 houses, and of course with the primary favorable house also present, is going to be very good. Next point, if the grouping of the favorable houses is also present in CSL level, it adds more favorable strength. You can see Saturn has got 3, 5, 9, 11 in CSL also. Favorable houses in the CSL, it adds more strength. For example, here Mercury, second lord, fifth lord occupying second house, good house grouping, but it is not having CST in CSL. If it was having CSL also some favorable houses, this planet house grouping would have been very stronger. That's what it is indicating. I hope you have understood. If the planet is cuspal lord or cuspal sublord for 1 or 11 or 2 or primary favorable house, it needs more attention while studying, because a planet in its self-signification, especially in the cuspal lordship, it is owner of the lagna, owner of 11th house, owner of second house, or primary favorable house for an event. It needs more attention, because that planet from left to right, if it is having favorable grouping, it becomes stronger because it is owner of the favorable houses. And also when we are going to study level to level study also, the next level being the owner of these houses in CL, that planet that will experience the star lord sublord significations, that becomes very stronger. It can be stronger, it can be weaker also, because the planet having got these houses in CL and star level, sub level planet in the next steps we are going to discuss, if it is having unfavorable houses, these houses in source, it will experience unfavorable. So when we are studying the first step, check the planet signification. If it is having primary house, or 1, 2, or 11 are primary favorable house in self in the CL or CSL, it needs more attention while studying. By studying the self significations, we can identify that planet, whether it is a favorable or mixed key planet for the event. Suppose a planet is having only favorable houses. For example, you can see Saturn. Saturn is 9th lord, 10th lord also, but 10 is not much unfavorable. 9th lord occupying 5th house, 3, 7, 11 star lord, and 3, 5, 9, 11 sub lord, as we discussed. It has got very good house grouping. So it is a favorable key planet. But you can see its second planet Ketu, Saturn second planet Ketu, is having 9th occupant and 4, 8, 12 star lord and 10th sublord. These unfavorable houses will have some impact indirectly on the Saturn. So, but Saturn is strong because that is the first planet. Ketu second planet is going to be influencing. So that planet, Saturn planet, is favorable key planet along with some obstacles. Mercury is also favorable key planet. If, for example, you take Rahu. Rahu is occupying third house, 2, 6 star lord and 2, 6 sub lord. Second house is good for the family point of view, but 2, 6, 6 is when it connected to that, it is not much supportive. So we can say this planet is having mixed significations. Moon, you can see 3, 1, 1, 1. So it is favorable key planet. But because of the Rahu second planet, its unfavorable signification, mixed signification, making that planet is also favorable strength is getting reduced. This sun, yes, sun is fourth lord occupying Lagna, 5, 9, and 7. It is good. So it's a favorable key planet. In case of Mars, 7th lord, 12th lord occupying 12th house in 12. So 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 10, it is unfavorable grouping. 12th lord occupying 12th house and 12th, 10th star lord. Though it is 7th lord, it is having unfavorable strength is more. So while we are studying the planet self-significations, whether it is favorable houses are strongly supported or unfavorable grouping are strongly supported, based on that, that planet can be favorable or mixed. In this case, you can see 8th Lord, 11th Lord occupying 5th house, and 8 and 12 cuspal sublord. 8th Lord and 8 and 12 cuspal sublord is unfavorable, but being 11th Lord occupying 5th house, it is also having some favorable grouping. If it was not 11th Lord, only 8th Lord occupying 5th house, 8 and 12, definitely it will be unfavorable. But being 8th Lord and also 11th Lord, because as I said, the planet being the 11th Lord, it has got some strength. Occupying 5th house, 11 and 5 forming some favorable grouping. And so that planet is a mixed planet for the event of marriage. I hope you have understood. So by way of studying the self-signification, we can find whether the planet is favorable or mixed key planet if the planet is having the CL in the favorable house in the CL. Similarly, you can check the unfavorable house the CL is having. You check if the unfavorable house is further supported by the unfavorable house grouping, or unfavorable strength is reduced by the favorable houses in OCC, CST, and CSL. You can see, as I discussed, you can see the planet is 12th Lord. It is having unfavorable house in the CL. It is further supported by the unfavorable grouping. So unfavorable strength is increased, or unfavorable strength is reduced by the favorable grouping. For example, you can see it is 10th Lord. CL is having 10th house. That 10th house is not further supported by the OCC, CST, and CSL. So, unfavorable house is not further supported. Unfavorable house is reduced by the favorable house grouping. Check if they form good unfavorable grouping of houses, especially with 8 and 12. Suppose unfavorable house in CL is further supported by the unfavorable houses. In that, if it is having 8th house or 12th house, the unfavorable strength is going to be more. You can see here, 12, 12, 10. So 8th house is not there, but 12, 12 are connected. So it is unfavorable. Suppose you take Ketu. Ketu is occupying 9th house, but star lord for 4, 8, 12 and 10th sublord. So 4, 8, 12 grouping is there. So it has got favorable house, but not supported at the CST and CSL, but it is having unfavorable houses with 8 and 12. So it means unfavorable strength is increased. If the grouping of the unfavorable house also present in CSL, it adds more unfavorable strength. Suppose you can see unfavorable house is present in the CSL, it is going to be more unfavorable. As we discussed for the favorable, the same way, if the planet is cuspal lord or cuspal sublord for 1, 8, or 12, or Badhaga lord or primary unfavorable house for the event, it needs more attention while studying the self-signification and also actually complete significations. Because if your planet is Lagna lord or 8th lord or 12th lord or Badhaga lord or primary unfavorable house for the event. Here, when I was telling Lagna Lord or second Lord or 11th Lord or primary favorable houses. If the planet is having in CL or CSL, we have to be, we have to give more attention while we are studying the self-signification, because that planet is one of the good houses that will experience good effect and result through the star lord and sublord, may be favorable or unfavorable. Similarly, if the planet is having 1, 8, 12 or Badhaga or unfavorable primary house in CL, it needs more attention while studying. Because in self-signification also, being the 8th lord, being the 12th lord, being the 6th lord, for example, in the event of unfavorable house for the event, 6th house is for the marriage is unfavorable. 6th lord occupying Lagna and 4th cuspal sublord. So 6th house is moving, it is not further supported by 12th house or 8th house here, but it is having Lagna but 4th cuspal sublord. So 6th house is Further, it is when it is talking about sixth lord in the CL it is having, we have to carefully study whether that sixth house matters are further supported or not. Similarly, being the Lagna Lord and the sixth Lord in the star and sub of other favorable houses, that strength of this Lagna or six will be increased or decreased. That we will be studying in the next step. So we have to keep it in mind when we are studying the self-signification of a planet, whether the planet is having that Lagna or second house or 11th house or primary favorable house for the event, then we have to give more attention. Similarly, if it is having Lagna or 8th house or 12th house or Badhaga house for the Lagna or the unfavorable primary house for the event, we have to be more careful or we have to give more attention while studying. As I said, no, the second house and 11th house, though it is normally good for the Lagna, for the health point of view, they may be coming under unfavorable. Second house will be coming under unfavorable. 11th house for the Chara Lagna will be coming under the unfavorable because that is the Badhaga Lord. I hope you would have understood. By studying the self-significations, we can identify the planet is unfavorable or mixed key planet. It means a planet having got CL unfavorable house, and in OCC, CST, CSL also it is having unfavorable houses, then it is going to be unfavorable. It is having favorable houses, it is also having favorable houses, it is going to be mixed key planet. I hope you have understood. Next one is what? If the planet is a free planet, its self-signification strength will be more. For example, you can take Jupiter. Jupiter, 8th Lord, 11th Lord, occupying 5th house, 8 and 12 cuspal sublord. It is a mixed key planet and also it is a free planet. It means no planet in its nakshatra. Similarly, Venus also a free planet. Ketu also a free planet. So what are the significations they are having? They are strongly signifying. It is a step number one. But that step number one also will be experiencing the star lord and sublord. But still, that step number one, that self-signification of this planet will be significant when compared to the other planet, which are not free planets. When you are going to study the level-wise study in case studies, then when I'm going to explain about this, you will understand better. And in case of node planets, what are node planets? Ketu, Saturn node planet, Moon, Rahu node planet, Rahu, Moon node planet, Saturn, Ketu node planet. In this case, the first planet significations is primary and second planet significations are secondary. In case of Ketu, Ketu occupying 9th house, that is favorable, but CST, CS are all unfavorable for the event, and also it is having 8th house and 12th house. As I said, unfavorable houses, along with that 8 and 12 houses, it is going to be more unfavorable. So the planet Ketu is having mixed significations, but unfavorable is on the higher side. That is the first planet of the Ketu. Now, look at the second planet of the Ketu is Saturn. Saturn is having 9, 10, 5, 3, 7, 11, 3, 5, 9, 11 cuspal sublord. It means Saturn is a very good favorable house grouping, including CSL, including favorable primary houses, and 11th house also present. Now, what will happen? Ketu's primary, that first level planets, unfavorable significations, that will get reduced by the favorable grouping of the second planet. Though this planet is getting some strength from the Saturn, that is going to be only secondary. Ketu primarily having unfavorable, but secondarily it is getting some strength. So unfavorable strength will be reduced. Whereas you take Saturn, Ketu becomes the second planet. Ketu is favorable. It has got very good house grouping in self. But Ketu being the second planet, it is having some weakness. So favorable signification of the Saturn is getting reduced or it is facing obstacles because of the second planet. So Saturn is primary, Ketu is secondary. Here Saturn is strong, favorable key planet with obstacles. Ketu here is obstacle giving planet, but with the favorable support through the second planet. Same way, Moon Rahu and Rahu Moon we have to study. Moon is favorable 3111 and second planet Rahu is 32626. It is mixed for the event of marriage. So Moon is favorable, but second planet is mixed. Here Rahu is mixed and second planet Moon is good, favorable. So first planet is primary and second planet is to be studied as secondary. I hope you would have understood the step number 2, how it has to be studied. In the next part, I will be explaining you about the studying the second step in the method of analysis. Thank you.